feeling athletic and just loving their own bodies and reaching goals without being obsessive or yo-yoing back and forth. But of course, before we dig into that, I would love for you to just introduce yourself and kind of say where you're at, who you are, what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Nicole Gomez. I live in New Jersey. So I am the creator of Project Fit Chick 180. And basically, we take average gym girls to lean and strong fit chicks. And with that, we help them lose anywhere from 10 to 20 pounds and the always on a diet cycle and just get really strong, really confident when they are in the gym with knowing like exactly what they're going to do when they get in there. So that's kind of our biggest mission.
Awesome. I love that. I mean, I love that you also put confidence at the forefront of all of
Yeah.
that because that is going to have a huge carryover into all areas of life, not just obviously how their posture or how they feel in their own body, but like literally everything
Mhm.
with your work and how you position yourself that can help so much. So love it. And I'd love to know a little bit more in the sense of is it like a certain duration? Does everybody work out 5 times a week? Is it primarily training, or is it also a little bit of nutrition, or is it 50-50? What's basically the main gist of it?
Okay, so there is three main components, which is probably, the way that you do things too. Nutrition, training, and accountability are all in one. Yeah,
Ooh,
so
cool. Yeah.
can't have one without the other if you have certain goals. So that's our biggest thing, and it's kind of interesting the way that the nutrition and training are they work in line or with the women that I work with, because they're very different the way that I do it, because nutrition wise it's everybody knows the always on a diet, but you're never actually doing the diet properly. So those are basically the women that come to me. They're always on a diet, they're always trying to lose weight, it's like always this constant cycle, but you're never doing it right. So that's why you're never successful at it. So we teach them how to properly fuel their body, what that feels like to, have control and understand how simple nutrition can actually be. Training wise, it's
Mhm.
just getting as strong as possible, like getting in the gym,
Oh, cool.
yeah, lifting,
Yep.
being strong, feeling athletic, feeling powerful. And once you have control over that, that is really just what takes your fitness journey to the next level. And then accountability too. Like I coach all of the women that I work with. They have like a support system, kind of like how you have here with a group. So those are the main three aspects of how Project Fit Chick works.
Awesome. I know that you used to call it, or like the tagline used to be taking former athletes to feel like athletes again. And I actually did like that too. I understand why you've kind of rephrased it as to like everybody, because not necessarily everybody thinks of themselves as an
Yeah.
athlete, but I think essentially everybody who was like even a little bit involved in sports in high school, and I would consider that a former
Yeah.
athlete, right? Like they might not see that themselves that way, but that's still some sort of athleticism. So I think also just yeah, that kind of exemplifies that whole confidence thing as well, because an athlete is like, hey, I'm training not just because I'm punishing myself or not because I need to work out to work off my calories, but no, I'm training because it's good for me. I love it. I want to be athletic. And I'm super curious how you came up with the program. I know that you yourself have been like you love sports obviously, but very much that transition from like team sports or just not just going into the gym for the sake of it, but also for the fun of it and so on. That's kind of where you have come from, right? Is that what made you want to create a program like that?
Yeah, so originally it was exactly how you mentioned, taking former athletes to feel like athletes again. And we do have a lot of athletes as well, but the only reason that I really changed it is not only because the style, not the style of training, but I guess my mentality of who am I now, like being a I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, it just like speaks to me, like going in the gym,
Cool. Yes.
in the gym. So I was getting a lot of people too, like, oh, I'm not an athlete. Like I was never been an athlete, but I do go to the gym and I want to be that classic girl that walks in there and like you see her just like killing it, like crushing it.
Oh, I love
Our
it.
biggest thing. And with the whole mentality around training, it is like feeling athletic, because we are forever athletes. Like, even if we're not competing, we are athletes. So it's kind of taking the gym and translating that to life, in a sense of like how you mentioned, I'm not in there to punish myself. Not only is this good for me, but I think of it too, like, if I can go into the gym and do a 300-pound deadlift, like, there is nothing that I can't do. Like, there is no way I can't stand up in a meeting and ask a question, or stand up for my
Oh, so
people,
cool.
are kind of like crossing my boundaries. Like, I just deadlifted 300 pounds. You think I can't do anything else? So that's the way that I
Oh, super
feel
cool.
it. If you feel strong, if you feel powerful in your body, that's going to translate to everything else. Like, anything that comes your way, you want to get a new job, you want to, it could be the biggest thing, the smallest thing, like the way that you feel in your body, and your body being strong, it's going to just translate to everything else.
I love that. And so, do you have like, I want to say, minimum requirement, or like if someone says, "Hey, I want to be a fit chick," or "I would love to do that program. I've got a super busy lifestyle. I feel like that's preventing me from going after that." Do you think training twice a week is enough, or like, is there something where you're like, you really do have to invest at least 3 sessions a week, or like, what's your minimum type thing?
So yes, I do have a minimum. We train 5 times a week, which I know is
Hmm.
for some people, but
Hmm.
it's the process that I do. I call it the 3-2 method. Basically, you have three main lifts. Like, get those three lifts, and
Hmm.
100% you can schedule your three lifts in. They're full body lifts. Go in there. They take the longest, in a sense, and these are our main priorities. The other two in the 3-2 method is an accessory day. So some people have it at home and they just put a video, they follow it along. It's more like hit based. Some people, it's just like a quicker band workout, shoulders, glutes, cardio. So those 2 days
Hmm.
can fit into your busy day. You can kind of
Cool.
flexible with that. But the idea is more so of, you don't have to train 6 days, 7 days. Like, that's a lot, but you can move your body, because once you're moving your body, you're,
Oh, great.
or better choices with nutrition, you're going to feel better. So just kind of getting everybody into, like, even if I prioritize these 20 minutes into that accessory day, because that's all I can do, I'm still moving my body today.
Absolutely. Well, and it kind of goes back to the whole thing of habit creation as well. Like, once you make going to the gym a habit, even if it's just 45 minutes or whatever, it's almost going to feel more odd on your rest
Yeah.
days. We want to get to that point where rest day feels weirder or harder to
Yeah.
take than the exercise. And I like that. Sometimes you do have to throw people a little bit into the water and just say, like, this is my minimum. I do want to work with, like, meeting you halfway, which you do. You say this is the minimum requirements on a busy day. Scratch the rest of that, but otherwise, no, I love it. And you, of course, that way also you have people participating in your program that are fully invested, right? Like, you're not going to have someone who's half-assing it and secretly just thinking they can get away with one training session away a week with 30 minutes or so. So
Yeah.
really cool. My burning question now is, like, how do you get people out of the almost even more challenging part, the dieting cycle, the mental part of, like, getting their buy-in, even because I personally know from having done various diets in the past, or always having aesthetic goals where you're like, oh, I need to be exactly 115 pounds or whatever it is, and just letting go of that and creating a new vision of myself, or like a new person that I want to be. That is actually the hard part, like, almost most people know what they should eat or what they shouldn't eat, etc., but like, that mental aspect for a lot of people is the hard part.
Yeah. So it comes with a lot of things. The first part, well, I mentioned like phasing it, like fat loss phase, maintenance phase, reverse phase. And I'll talk about that in a second. That is like 100% like the key to making it a lifestyle rather than just a diet, because we understand calories. I
Mm-hmm.
think the first part is, do you actually understand your calories? Do you actually understand that, like, that bread that you are so fearful of, that all of a sudden, like, it can be the little things like, oh, I can't have bread, but I can have this wrap. Hey, they're the same thing, you know, like have
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, the same thing, like bread, rice, but I can have this smoothie. Like they have the same amount of calories. So understanding that, understanding calorie intake, once you understand that, all of the foods that you have been so fearful of, pizza, um, like sweets, little things like that, you start fitting them in and you'll realize if you wake up today, I had pizza last night, I feel so guilty, I shouldn't have done that. Well, what if I told you that you never went over your calories? Would you feel different? And usually people are like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I would feel okay, but like they don't understand that you probably didn't go over your calories, or maybe you only went over 100. And it's that fear of like, you know, like I overate, this food is bad for me. And it's interesting because when I first started tracking, or when I first started like I'm over dieting, because it was a cycle. I did every diet in the book. I did pills, I did like the fat burners, I did the restrictions, I did everything. And one day I was so sick of it, and I used to always binge on sweets, and I never used to
Mm-hmm.
allow myself to have them until, you know, that day comes where I'm having like a massive cookie cake with ice cream. So one thing that I did was I started having sweets every single day. Like after dinner, I was like, I'm always craving a sweet, so I just got a thing of like chocolate, and I would just grab one, right? Just grab one, just grab one. And then I eventually like stopped having it, and I didn't realize I stopped having it. But it was the fact that like I wasn't restricting myself anymore from that. I started to like crave it less. And actually just recently happened because I'm like a fiend for rice, and I started having a rice bowl every single day. And now I'm just like over it. Like I was just like it's not something that I feel like I have to binge on, because I allow myself to have it so much that
Yes.
you kind of like get away from that craving, from that drive from it. So that is one, understanding like your calorie intake so that you can plug in all of these foods, so you can have all the foods you love, so that you can lose weight by noticing like, oh, I don't have to cut off all of my rice. I just have to cut the portion in half. Like that's all I have to do. And it's
Totally.
like a for now thing. Like in fat loss, we all understand like calorie deficit, but the phasing your body is the biggest thing. Is people go into this calorie deficit, and they, let's say you bring your calories down 1400 calories at one point, like that's pretty low, you're gonna feel restricted, but you don't have to stay there forever. So it's important
Forever.
that reverse diet to get to, let's say, your 2000 calories, but you're still maintaining your weight loss. And the biggest thing is tracking at maintenance. I think that,
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that you say
yeah,
that. Yes.
people don't track at maintenance. They just think tracking in a deficit. So that's why counting calories has so much of an obsessive, like, mindset towards it. But because even now, when I'm in a calorie deficit, I feel like I'm putting a lot of effort into it. But when you're tracking at maintenance, you're like, you could not track all day and write it down and put it in at the end of the day and realize, like, oh, wow, I did a good job today. Or you can realize, like, wow, I underate today and I didn't realize. So it's kind of having that flexibility of like, okay, I can have this dinner right now with no problem. And then at the end of the day, I'll realize, like, okay, wow, I'm in my calories, I'm not in my calories. And for a lot of people, it's a visual thing. When I first started tracking at maintenance, I used to make these really tiny meals, and then I would realize, like, there's nothing in there. Like it's okay for my meal to look big. Like we have this whole thing about I can't eat a lot. People are like, "Oh, you're going to eat all that?" Yes, this is the amount of eating. So tracking at maintenance, visually seeing how much can I eat without gaining weight is just like so.
Love that.
So hopefully that can kind of push people. We all talk about calorie deficit, but nobody talks about tracking at maintenance, and it's
No, I honestly think that that is so true. I really love that you say that because I also often have clients that, they're in a calorie deficit or coming out of at the tail end of the calorie deficit, and they're like, oh, I'm tracking fatigued. I want to take a break from tracking. I'm like, no, 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 you're not tracking fatigued. You're diet
diet.
fatigued. You're over the dieting. It like 95% of the time that is actually true. And then if I just say like now just eat whatever, well not whatever, but eat to satiation for like a week or two and just track it, see where you are, still put it in at the end of the day, like you're saying. And after a week or so, you won't feel fatigued. You're not annoyed by this little app that takes you 2-3
Yeah.
minutes. you're annoyed by the fact that you feel like it's limiting you from eating whatever
Yeah.
you want. So I think that that is a super, super great point. And I think all the things that you mentioned with like implementing little bits of the things that you're craving, that also is an immensely helpful tool for fixing that relationship with food, not just with the dieting on and off and everything, but with those particular foods and food in general, because it almost takes the emotion out of it. It just gives you, like you say, permission to eat everything, and it's just like, yeah, it's just food. It's just, something I can have or I don't need to have right now. I can have a little bit of it at the time. There's nothing good or bad about any of
Yes.
this. It's just
Just,
food. And I think the other thing which you said was like, oftentimes when people restrict themselves from having that chocolate and then one day they just go all in, um, they don't realize how much on a day that's like all out, how much you can actually consume, and they almost feel less guilty about, oh, it's okay, tomorrow I'm going to go back on track. And most people, or a lot of people, feel guiltier about having a little bit every day, which is so weird because that little bit every day, it might add up to, 700 calories by the end of the week. But if you have that one binge day, it can easily be like a 4,000 calorie day. So it's like, yeah, that little bit here and there is a really, really good recommendation, I think, in my opinion, for getting over that yo-yo dieting. So love it, absolutely.
yeah, yeah, no, I understand that too. Like you're like, oh wow, I did so good all week and this is just this, but oftentimes too, some people will have that binge day and then they wake up in the morning like I need to fix it. And then it's like maybe I shouldn't have breakfast. Maybe I should have like
Mm-hmm.
maybe I should try to like, make up for everything that I did. But I always tell people like just get back to your meal structure. Once you have that meal structure, I eat 4 times a day, let's say 4 times a day, and I'm never gonna sway away from that. You'll stop trying to fix all of the things that and I
Mm-hmm.
like how you mentioned it, like it really is just food. We put food on a pedestal, like food is to enjoy, it's to be social, it's to
For sure. Yes.
fuel your body, but it really is just food. Like it doesn't have to be that big of a deal. We think like, oh, it's my birthday. That's how I was too. Yesterday I was thinking about it because I went to like I got like a nice healthy meal, regular meal. When I was like in this diet cycle, I'm like, it's my birthday. This is the only time I can have these foods. Like I need to go and get the unhealthy things. I feel terrible at the end of the week because I go on this 4-day birthday binge, but like when you
Mm-hmm.
don't have that restriction, you're just eating the way like it's so simple, but like yeah.
No, it's absolutely true because then you don't have that desire to go completely crazy on your birthday. You're probably craving a nice salad and you might have a slice of cake
Yeah.
afterwards. Yes. But that's absolutely it. Um, I'm also really curious, like if someone joins your program and they're like, I want to love my body, but I really don't. Like right now, I'm just not happy in my body. And I know we're working towards getting stronger and losing weight, but I just if I had to pick 5 things on my body that I loved, I can't find any. Like, do you have cases like that or people like that coming to you as well?
Yes. A, a lot. A lot of people. There's
Yeah.
a fine balance between working on your body, and that is okay. Like there's nothing wrong with wanting to change your
No.
no, like if being 20 pounds lighter is not only going to make you feel better, but it's going to make you feel more confident, like go for it. But understand this
Absolutely.
is my body now. So it kind of comes down to, can we take the glorification of going to the gym to burn calories, to change that, to change my body? Can we take that away? How do we take that away from nutrition? How do we take that from training? Is just understanding, what am I supposed to do today with my fitness? Okay, these are my calorie intake. This is my workout. That's it. Like I don't have to focus on
Mm-hmm.
the bigger plan because I kind of put it into, these are my 2 tasks for the day. And now I can go into the gym and understand I'm doing exactly what I need to do in order to hit my goals. So I don't have to feel
Mm-hmm.
that stress of like, am I doing enough? And am I doing too little? Am I like all of
Mm-hmm.
that? So you can just go into the gym and have fun and work hard. So the way that I do it with my clients is when they check in with me, there's an option. Like they have to fill out, what do I love about myself? And sometimes they're like, I love my arms, I love my shoulders, I love this. Sometimes they're like, Nicole, I can't find anything that I love about myself this week. I'm like, yes, you can. What is something that you love about yourself? When you look in the mirror, for me, like my biggest thing is like I hold fat in my midsection. So I used to always look in the mirror and where are my eyes going? Straight to the midsection. So I started kind of reframing that for myself. And before I even looked in the mirror, I'm like, I'm not going to look at the part that I hate most. I'm going to look at the part that I love most. So I started looking at my shoulders. So when you see look at them in the mirror, it's not like, oh, I need to change this, I need to change that. It's like, ooh, like my shoulders are looking good today. My quads are little things like that, and going and noticing all of the little things. And a lot of us, we have like body dysmorphia. If you've ever, I realized that I had it when I was like my slimmest ever. And I remember like thinking like, oh, I look so fat today. I have this. And I look back at that video like 2 years later and I'm like, I was literally a twig. Like, so the thing that you at your skinniest, you have felt this way. At, let's say, your thickest, you felt this way. So like it's really in your head. Like, accept your body today. Know that you are, obviously you have to be doing what you're supposed to be doing on your plan, but knowing that you're following the steps for your plan is all that you can do today. So just love that body that you are showing up in. Like, just try.
That's so great.
Focus on like, wow, I'm so strong. Wow, like my shoulders look so good. Focus on the positivity and the things that you don't like about yourself. It's okay, but you need to be fixing them the right way, not the crazy diet method way, because that's just going to make your process miserable.
I think that's awesome, really just focusing on what's the next thing that I need to do, or what's the one or two things, like really simplifying. I think a lot of programs or just people in general, we like to overcomplicate things, but look, like there is certainly a benefit in like looking at the big picture and periodization in general. But I think what that often creates, just as you're saying, is, oh, I still have so much further to go. I've only lost a pound or two so far. I still have like 18 to go. Holy crap. Or, okay, over the next so and so many months, that still means like 200 days of dieting. Holy crap, I've only got 50 behind me. But yeah, if you just think of today or tomorrow or maybe even this week, that's awesome advice, because we all have so much going on anyway. So, like, it shouldn't be an extra huge stressor where, yeah, again, like where it becomes that part of your life that just makes you even more miserable. um and I think like, yeah, sometimes we all need an encouragement to just hone in and focus on what it is that we are doing well. It might not necessarily be a body part, but you could even say, okay, if there's nothing necessarily that I like about myself physically that much right now, I slept really well, my body lets me sleep well, or I have the ability to hold my kids up all day or whatever. Like those are great parts. And the training that you're mentioning sounds like an awesome, almost catalyst to feel that even more, because at some stage when you have that a training focus like that, I believe, like getting stronger and fitter, then you're going to celebrate those performance wins, which no doubt they have, like whether it's an increase in weight or they did a higher box jump or whatever it is. But soon that's going to become more important than thinking, oh, last week I lost 0.3 of a pound. It's going to be cooler to say, whoa, I did a box jump, I lifted the heaviest deadlift I ever have, and I can do 2 push-ups now without my knees on the ground. Yay! So yeah, it definitely, I can see how that's such a confidence boost for sure. Um, do you have like a general program that, because you mentioned is it 5-3 or 3-2 program or whatever?
Yeah.
3-2. Is that like a general program that almost everybody starts off with, or is it more individualized that you just say like, here's our structure, but we're kind of playing around with that on the day? Or do some of your clients like work out on your own, or do they all come and work out with you actually?
So we do it through an app, like workout of
Cool.
click on the app, it literally shows you exactly what you're gonna do, how to video. on
Yeah.
everything. That's how we set it up. Different clients have different variations. Scheduling wise, I tell them, I don't care how you break up those days. You can do Monday
Cool.
to Friday, or you can work out Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I don't care how you do it. So scheduling wise, they can kind of move those days around. If you have a super flexible Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and your Thursday's like more like your schedule is hard, do your quicker workouts at the end of the week. So I tell them that part,
Mm.
yes, I require you to do these things, but if you need to move things around, go for it. The bigger picture is getting everything done. Um, they have different variations. Some people do their accessory days at home. Some people do their
Hmm.
gym. So we do have ways that we like change things for certain clients for the little things, but for the most part, people coming in, like we we also glorify the fact that like we think that every single person needs this like particular thing. Like there's swaps that we can make, and I'll teach you exactly how to swap those exercises, how to swap certain things out, but it's really not that complicated. Like, you
No,
know,
I agree with that. I think like nutrition is definitely, there is definitely a higher need for individualizing
yeah,
that than when it comes to training. It's good to have a general program or like a general outline. And then if someone says, "Hey, I have knee issues, can I swap this and that for something else?" Exactly, like accommodating or teaching them how to work around that. That's certainly a cool way to go about it, I think.
yeah. And then I also I'm like picky in a sense with the clients that come to me, because I can't help everybody. My program is not.
No, yeah.
So if I know I can't help you, if I know that somebody else's training style would be better for you, if I know that like you don't fit into my program, then I won't accept you onto the program. So that's it too. Like I work with very particular women on their journey because this is what I specialize in. If somebody else specializes
Yes.
in like knee friendly, like joint, like walking and things like that, that's not me, and that's okay. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's only fair to them as well, because that would, if you took someone on and then they would say like, "Hey, I don't enjoy that," or whatever, it's not custom for me, then you're like, "Well, I told you so." So nobody's is helped that way. And I'm sure that way they find exactly the coach that's calling
Yeah.
them as well. So love it. But no, super awesome. I think perspective on everything with regards to taking one day at a time, with regards to training in a way that builds your confidence, and also nutrition, um, moderated tracking and maintenance, super cool tips. But I'm wondering if you have maybe one or two other things, which like anybody listening to this now or later in the replay, that you think would be a good advice for them to take away or just generally apply to their own training and nutrition.
Yeah, so I'll give you two. Um, Number one, with this whole journey, if you're feeling frustrated, if you're feeling like stressed, if you're not having fun with it, I'm sure that whoever's watching hears this all the time, but if you don't have a plan, you're gonna feel that way all the time. Like you have no idea how much you can change, not only for your body, but for your mind, if you just stop trying to do everything on your own. When you have it laid out, things become more fun. If you have a cavity, you're not going to try to fix it. You're going to go to the dentist. If you're not feeling well, you're going to play with a lot of pills. You're going to go to the doctor. Like, it's okay that this is not what you do best. So get somebody to do it
Yes.
all for you, where they say, like, over
Mhm.
the course of the next 6 months, this is what we are doing each month. This is what you are doing each day. So once you have that laid out, you'll feel like, oh, wow, this is nice. Like even
For sure,
I
yes.
don't do my own training, I don't do my own nutrition
Mhm.
because it's stress for me and I'll be biased with my body. So I always hire people. So that's number one. You want to make this easy for yourself. If whoever's watching this is watching this, they're already either doing it or they're thinking about it. So if you go for a plan, if you go for a coach in 2 years or in 5 years, you're gonna do it eventually. Just do it. Like just go.
Mhm.
So that's huge. And
Mhm.
then the second thing, like my best piece of advice to anybody, focus when you go into the gym. I want you to go in there and want one thing. I am going to get as strong as possible today. I'm going to
Mm.
build as much muscle as possible today. You're not going to turn into this Hulk, but you're going in there and it's like, nice, I squatted heavier today. Like, and when you take that focus away from burning calories and losing weight to I'm going in there and I'm just getting as strong as possible today, your body is just going to absolutely transform. It's going to have intensity with training that it needs. So go into the gym, try to get as strong as possible as you can today, and you'll have a lot more fun and your body will definitely change the way that you want it to change.
I love it. Training program or having a coach and getting as strong as possible. I'll add to that, and don't text message or play on your phone in between sets. I mean, like, of course, we like listening to music or podcast or whatever. Absolutely fine, but I think that it always pulls your focus out so much if, like, I'm just going to answer this quick test, oh, okay, I need to get back, and then it turns into a 5-minute rest, or you're just like halfway still in the text.
Yeah.
So yeah, to get a good training session, and that would be my additional tip.
I actually, yesterday, was it? Or 2 days ago, I was like on my phone doing all these things, and I was like, my circuit, like what I'm doing right now is not going well. Like, just because I am texting, and
That's it.
I'm putting that away. I don't use my phone at all anymore. I just write it all down on a piece of paper. So, or like a little book,
Oh, cool.
so that I don't
Yeah.
my phone, but like I check it for my workout, I write it down, and then I'm only focused on like that little notebook. So that's a group
Love it.
that you just gave.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Nicole. It's been lovely catching up. And where can everybody find you if you want to share that? I'll also put it in the comments, but yeah, just share with
Yeah,
us.
so I am mostly on Instagram and I'm on TikTok. It's at N Gomez Movement. I'm here on Facebook, not as active, but if anyone wants to chat with me here, they can add me as a friend. But TikTok, Instagram is the easiest place to find me, or the best place to find me and all of my content. And that's at N Gomez Movement.
Perfect. Awesome. I'll put it, as I said, in the comments as well. So thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have an amazing start to your
Well,
weekend.
thank you so much. This is a lot of fun.
Awesome. Talk to you
Bye.
soon.